living on $60,000 a year might sound comfortable. But after taxes, expenses, and trying to save for the future, many people find themselves wondering where all their money actually goes. If you've ever felt stressed about money despite having a decent salary, you're not alone. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I budget my $60,000 salary, breaking down every single dollar from the moment it hits my account to where it ends up at the end of the month. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear blueprint you can adapt to your own situation. Let me start by being completely transparent about the reality of a $60,000 salary. When most people hear $60,000, they think that's $5,000 per month. But that's not what actually lands in your bank account. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and any other deductions, the reality is quite different. On a $60,000 annual salary, you're looking at approximately $5,000 gross per month. Federal income tax will take roughly 10 to 12% depending on your filing status and deductions. That's about $500 to $600. State income tax varies dramatically by state. If you live in a state like Texas or Florida with no state income tax, you save here. But if you're in California or New York, you might pay another 3 to 6%. Let's assume a moderate state tax of 4%, which is $200 monthly. Social Security tax is 6.2% of your gross income, which equals $310 per month. Medicare tax is 1.45%, adding another $72. Right there, we're already at approximately $1,000 to $1,200 in taxes alone. Many employers also deduct health insurance premiums, which can range anywhere from $100 to $400 per month. For this example, let's say $200 per month for a decent individual health plan. Some people also contribute to a 401k, which I highly recommend. Even if you start small, let's say 5% of your gross salary, that's $250 per month. After all these deductions, your $60,000 salary becomes approximately $3,200 to $3,400 in actual take-home pay per month. This is the number we're really working with, and this is what we need to budget effectively. Now, let's talk about how I allocate this $3,400. I follow a structured approach that prioritizes essentials first, then savings, and finally discretionary spending. The biggest expense for most people is housing. Financial experts typically recommend spending no more than 30% of your gross income on housing, but I prefer to use take-home pay as the benchmark. 30% of $3,400 is $1,020. In my case, I pay $950 per month for rent. I deliberately chose to live slightly below the 30% threshold to give myself more breathing room. I know that in high cost of living areas like San Francisco or New York, $950 might seem impossible. In those cases, you might need to consider roommates or living further from the city center. On the flip side, in lower cost areas, you might pay $600 or $700 for a decent place, which frees up significant money for other goals. Utilities come next, and this includes electricity, water, gas, internet, and trash. My average monthly utility cost is about $150. This breaks down to roughly $60 for electricity, $40 for internet, $30 for water and trash, and $20 for gas. Internet is my one non-negotiable utility because I work from home occasionally. I've found that keeping the thermostat at reasonable temperatures makes a noticeable difference over time. Transportation is another major category. I own a car that's paid off, which saves me from a monthly car payment. However, I still have costs. Car insurance runs me $130 per month. I shopped around extensively and found that bundling my car and renter's insurance saved me about 15%. Gas costs approximately $120 per month, since I have a 20-minute commute. I also budget $80 monthly for car maintenance and repairs. This might seem high for some months when nothing breaks, but when you need new tires or a major service, having this money set aside prevents financial stress. I put this into a separate savings account labeled Car Fund. If you use public transportation instead, a monthly transit pass in many cities runs $60 to $150, which could actually be cheaper than owning a car. Now, let's talk about food, which is split into two categories: groceries and dining out. I budget $350 per month for groceries. I shop at a mix of regular grocery stores and occasionally Costco for bulk items. I meal prep on Sundays, which helps me stick to this budget and avoid the temptation of ordering takeout during busy weeknights. $350 breaks down to roughly $80 to $90 per week, which gives me flexibility. For dining out and entertainment, I allow myself $200 per month. This covers everything from coffee shops, occasional dinners with friends, drinks, movies, or any other entertainment. $200 isn't huge, but it's enough to enjoy life without derailing my financial goals. This usually means 1 or 2 nice dinners out per month and a few casual meals. I've learned that most social connection doesn't require spending a lot of money. Meeting friends for a walk or hosting a potluck dinner are free or low-cost ways to maintain relationships. Phone service is another monthly expense at $50. I switched from a major carrier to a budget-friendly option, which cut my phone bill in half. If you're still paying $80 to $100 per month for phone service, I strongly encourage you to explore these options. Subscriptions are an area where many people lose track of spending. I currently have 4 subscriptions: Spotify Premium at $10 monthly, Netflix at $15, Amazon Prime at $12 monthly, and a gym membership at $35. That's $72 total. I audit these every 6 months and cancel anything I'm not actively using. Health and personal care includes co-pays for doctor visits, over-the-counter medications, toiletries, haircuts, and other personal care items. I budget $100 monthly for this category. Some months I spend less, and other months I might have a dentist visit and spend more. Averaging it out keeps things manageable. Clothing is an area where I've become much more intentional. I budget $75 per month, but I don't spend this every month. Instead, I let it accumulate and make larger purchases a few times per year. This approach allows me to buy quality items that last rather than cheap fast fashion. Over a year, that's $900 for clothing, which is enough to maintain a professional wardrobe. Now here's where it gets important. Everything I've covered so far is spending. But the real key to financial stability is prioritizing savings. Let me show you my savings strategy. I follow the principle of paying myself first. As soon as my paycheck hits, money automatically transfers to different savings accounts. I have an emergency fund that I contribute $250 to monthly. My goal is 6 months of expenses saved, which would be roughly $12,000. I'm currently at $8,000. This emergency fund is in a high-yield savings account earning around 4% interest. I also save $200 monthly in a separate account for annual expenses. This includes things like car registration, any annual subscriptions, holiday gifts, and other predictable expenses that don't occur monthly. By saving for these throughout the year, I'm never surprised when they come up. Additionally, I put $150 per month into what I call my opportunity fund. This is money for things like travel or handling larger one-time purchases without disrupting my regular budget. Between my 401k contribution of $250 and these additional savings of $600, I'm saving $850 per month total. That's 25% of my take-home pay going toward my future. This is above the commonly recommended 20%, but I've made it a priority because I want to achieve financial independence. Let me add up all the expenses and savings. Housing $950, utilities $150, car insurance $130, gas $120, car maintenance $80, groceries $350, dining and entertainment $200, phone $50, subscriptions $72, health and personal care $100, clothing $75, emergency fund $250, annual expenses fund $200, opportunity fund $150. That totals $3,277. My take-home pay is approximately $3,400, which leaves me with about $123 of buffer each month. This buffer is intentional. Life is unpredictable, and having this cushion prevents me from dipping into savings or feeling stressed. You might notice I didn't include debt payments in this budget. That's because I've already paid off my student loans and don't carry credit card debt. If you have debt, I'd recommend allocating money toward paying it off aggressively before maxing out other savings goals. The exception is your emergency fund. Always prioritize building at least $1,000 in emergency savings first. Let me address a few key questions. First, what about kids? I don't have children, which makes budgeting on $60,000 significantly easier. If you have dependents, your budget will look different. However, the principles remain the same. Know your take-home pay, prioritize essentials and savings, and be intentional about discretionary spending. Second, what about my 401k? My employer matches up to 3%. So I'm getting an additional $1,800 free money each year. If your employer offers matching, contribute at least enough to get the full match. Third, how do I track all this? I use a budgeting app that connects to my bank accounts. There are great options like YNAB, Mint, or Every Dollar. The tool doesn't matter as much as actually tracking consistently. The biggest lesson I've learned about budgeting isn't really about the numbers. It's about alignment between your spending and your values. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. When I looked at my spending 2 years ago, I realized I was spending $200 a month on food delivery, which didn't align with my goals. Making the conscious decision to meal prep freed up that money for things that actually mattered to me. I'm not suggesting you never enjoy life, but I do it intentionally, within a framework that also prioritizes my future self. One final point about income. $60,000 is a good starting salary, but it shouldn't be where you stay forever. I've also focused on increasing my income through asking for raises and developing new skills. A 10% raise on $60K is $6,000 annually, or $500 more per month. That can dramatically improve your financial picture. So while budgeting and controlling expenses is crucial, don't forget that growing your income is equally important. If you found this breakdown helpful, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel. I'll be sharing more detailed videos about specific aspects of personal finance, including salary negotiation, investment strategies, and optimizing each spending category. Drop a comment below telling me what your biggest budgeting challenge is. Remember, everyone's financial situation is unique, but the principles of spending less than you earn, saving consistently, and being intentional with money apply universally. A $60,000 salary can absolutely provide a comfortable life and set you up for future success if you approach it with a plan. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.